Hey, everybody, I've got what's probably a relatively short suspension trend for Amazon sellers who are looking at a potential suspension within the next, let's say, 72 hours, or you're suspended already. Maybe you've been deactivated for a couple of weeks and you're trying to right the ship on your appeal strategy. Hopefully, you have a strategy and you're not just looking at this as a one at a time appeals process. But I want to throw out some tips there because I know a lot of you have been emailing escalations to senior management or to this VP or to that executive. I know that's kind of a hot topic right now. Some people are just finding email addresses of high-level Amazonians online and scribbling something out and sending it in, just asking for help or asking for them to review something you already sent that was rejected, or maybe you're just frustrated by all the boilerplate denials you're getting. And of course, there's also account health teams. Sometimes you call into account health teams, or they call you because of an email you sent in, right? And they might not schedule the call. They might just call you on the number you've got in Seller Central to talk about an escalation email that you sent in. So let's clarify some of this. They might say they're account health management and that they read the appeal you sent to one of the execs in charge of account health. That's one possibility. Most of the other people, if you sent an email to other execs or VPs around Amazon, most of them will identify themselves as members of leadership teams. These calls kind of rose in prominence or frequency, I would say, throughout 2025 because not so many people at Amazon wanted to spend time sending written responses. Maybe their hands were tied. They were going to have to send you a generic response that didn't have any info in it, just saying that a high-level executive, similar to the Jeff at Amazon emails, right? Most people know those as Bezos escalations from the past, emails they sent to executive seller relations. This is kind of similar, but they're handling it in a phone call fashion. So number one, you want to be ready for a phone call if you're sending escalation emails to any of these higher ups, because it could happen and it might not be scheduled. So be, cat-like readiness for things like that once you start emailing in appeals instead of sending them through Seller Central. But beyond that, I want you to understand what these calls are. These are typically manager level people who are direct reports to the executives, or maybe that's their skip level boss. Bottom line is they are the person it's been delegated to, and they're responsible for responding to you. Well, they may have done a thorough job looking through everything you sent. They might not. Make sure you keep it factual, data driven. Make sure you understand their understanding of the appeal you sent in. If you sent in several, try to figure out which one they're talking about, because hopefully you're not sending the same, appeal, copy and paste to a bunch of different higher ups in Amazon. That's almost guaranteed to fail. You're modifying it, at least I hope, a little bit. So clarify some definitions and some terms before you get into the guts of it. What were they looking at? What are they responding to? Do they have questions? Do they need clarification? You're there to be, of course, the expert on your own appeals and a resource to help them understand maybe something you said. If they've got questions, maybe they say, we don't have questions. We're calling because we fully understand what's going on here and we can't accept your recent appeal. At that point, I would shift directly into what's missing, what's incomplete. Clearly, you're talking to somebody who's not a run-of-the-mill Amazonian. You're not talking to some average everyday seller support or account health rep member. Hopefully, you're not. Certainly establish the name of the person you're talking to. They're not likely to give you their full name, of course, which is fine. But get their name and what team they're with. And hopefully they tell you that confidently, so it doesn't sound like they're just having it dumped in their lap and they're just talking to you in a call to quickly check a box and move on to something else they were doing. Once you get to that point, you've been denied maybe a couple of times before you've done an escalation, and that wound up with a phone call from leadership team members. Same rules apply as when you're talking to account health or other teams. Not everything they tell you is going to be 100% accurate. Hopefully it's more accurate than what you've been dealing with so far. Take copious notes. If it's going too fast, maybe try to slow them down. Just tell them, hey, we're taking some notes here. We want to make sure we get this clear. We want to know our next steps, our action items, but also, revisions to our appeal in case the format was bad, in case, the dates weren't clear of some of the action or preventative steps we took, let's say. Specifics. Don't speak in generalities. Don't start it off with, we still don't know why we were suspended, if the performance notification they sent you originally made it pretty clear why you were suspended. And I'm not one of the people out there that says nobody ever knows why they were suspended. I understand that the notifications are canned responses or copy and paste to an extent, but they often do tell you what type of suspension you have. So don't waste time backtracking on basic info unless you really need it to fundamentally understand what's going on. Try to get into the weeds quickly. Try to use that call to get at specific missing pieces. It might be 5 or 6 pieces, not 2 the way you would hope. But take advantage of their knowledge of cases like yours. Take advantage of whatever you've learned about the nature of your suspension type. Hopefully when you first got suspended or threatened with suspension, you researched this a bit. We still talk to people who don't really take that step and they just start hastily putting together, I'm not sure what, copy and paste stuff or ChatGPT or whatever, which of course completely turns Amazon off and makes it look like you don't feel like doing any work to understand your situation before you appeal, right? Whenever you're writing anything, if you want to put something quality together, and of course, if you're doing escalations to senior management at Amazon, this is a writing exercise. This is not a time to mail it in and to knee-jerk your way through some copy and paste content. That turns them off. That hurts your odds. That makes it less likely that a call like this with a leadership team member or an account health executive is going to be worth the time, your time or their time. And who knows? If you don't take it seriously and if you blow this stuff off, you might be hurting yourself more than helping yourself by even engaging in a call like this, because they might finish that with you, make some annotations on your account. You know, this person really doesn't know what's going on, and their past appeals don't indicate that they've got any plans to send us what we need to reinstate them. You know, hard pass. No need to spend more time on this. Why serve yourself up on a platter with subpar content or copying and pasting stuff or borrowing, you know, even if you're doing it verbally in a call versus in writing, borrowing what somebody you met at a conference told you about how they handled escalation calls like this. These are a particular breed of communication. So whether you're talking to me or somebody who deals with this stuff all the time, make sure they understand and they have experience with leadership team calls. Make sure you're prepared for these. Anytime you send an escalation email in, you're ready for this type of thing before it happens. Maybe it will never happen. Maybe they will never call you. I've seen instances that were successful where people really got a lot done in 10 or 15 minutes on these calls, maybe even less, because they were ready for them. They had notes in front of them. They were prepared to talk to somebody a little bit higher level, who is maybe managerial, mid-management or above, who had experience with, okay, we're talking past each other. The appeals are stuck. They keep getting denied. How do we get you what you need so that you can justify the time you spent talking to us, the seller? You can annotate our account accordingly when this call is over or while you're talking to me. And I walk away as the responsible party for not just the account, but the appeals process. I walk away as an account owner who knows what's got to be in the next appeal, and I will expect a denial if it doesn't have those components. So yes, there's some nuance and complexity to this. I know it's threading a needle a bit, and I know some of you haven't experienced leadership calls or speaking with an account health manager who called you instead of you calling in to them. I know this is a lower percentage of sellers who have experienced this, but it's important to note that it's become more common, and it's really important to get it right the first time. So you might not get another crack at it. Questions on that, reach out to me, Chris McCabe at eCommerce Chris, or any of my team, or add some comments in the notes here if you've got things you want me to clarify about anything I said today. Thanks for listening and good luck.